Hello and welcome to the Working Title Project. My name is Emery and it's Tuesday and energy. Yes, my last video, a couple videos I think have been me being like, well, this is what I think about this. Be more energetic, happy, positive vibes. Yes, I'm going to talk about being on YouTube and being in the public eye. Because Bo is very interested. I love you. I've been on YouTube since 2010, and I started out on a project called The Queer Union, and nobody really watched it. And then when I came out as FTM, I made my first video, put it on YouTube, whatever. Got a spot on Tuesdays on FTM Transtastic on YouTube, and started getting more views and more guys asking me questions and making videos on my YouTube channel, documenting my transition, you know the deal. There seems to be this idea that I had, and I know that a lot of my friends have had in the past, that if you're gonna make a video, there has to be a point and a like a good outcome. And not everybody goes by that. And I really admire the people who don't. But for me, I started out really being like, okay, I'm not going to talk about the bad stuff because I want people to watch me and feel good and feel comfortable asking me questions and not think that if they start transitioning or doing anything that I'm doing, then it's going to be crappy and they're never going to be happy. And I just, I wasn't fake. Well, sometimes I was fake, but that has to do with I didn't include the bad until my 1 year on T video. You know, once in a while I would say, I'm not gonna lie, I'm a little depressed, but whatever. And then start talking about feet. And then when I put out my 1 year video, I included the breakup and the depression, and I cried, and I talked about how hard it was for me to give myself a pat on the back for doing the right thing for myself. And I realized that people appreciated it. And that was a huge step for me. You know, I've been trying for a while now, to be honest, in every aspect of my life, and it's very beneficial. It's very beneficial, especially when I don't think it's going to be. And doing that on YouTube is very freeing. Even, you know, last week talking about my depression, you know, people thanked me for being real. And I mean, it's not like I'm not real. I was afraid that people would click away and not want to watch the bad and then not benefit from what I had to say. And the reason I share on YouTube is because I want to help, and I thought that I wouldn't be helping. Also, another thing about being on YouTube, being in the public eye, whatever, is with the amount of attention, and I'm not famous, I don't think that, but the attention, the amount of good response, and then people who feel comfortable asking me questions is something that I love and I wanted and I still want. I still want to answer questions and give love and give back to the community that saved my life. But like as of right now, there are 1,089 messages in my Tumblr ask box and messages on Facebook. I didn't respond for like 4 or 5 days while Finn was here. You know, I would like respond here and there, but that was like the time when they were mostly coming in. And now it's like I feel like I should just like set aside a certain amount of time to respond to people, or I'm coming off as like this asshole who just like wanted the attention and now doesn't want to give back. It doesn't actually want to answer the questions, just wanted to receive and know that people are listening or something. So there's this like sort of like weird paranoia that comes along with being in the public eye. And I don't have it when I'm making a video. Like right now, I'm not thinking about how many people are going to watch this because I don't expect any more than 30 people to watch me in any video that I make. And then, you know, it gets to like 1,000 views and I'm like, holy shit, you know, people give a shit and people like to watch me and people have questions and okay, you know, that's amazing. That makes me feel good and I want to respond. But oh my god, I worry that like the one guy I don't respond to in time is gonna like kill himself because I didn't have a chance to respond immediately, and like it's a lot of pressure. And you know, I'm in the process of making a video for my personal channel where I answer some questions, but then my video over there is already like half an hour long and like Jesus, you know, like who's gonna watch that? I'll put jump links, but I guess the guy that wants to have his question answered is gonna watch that video, but what if he misses it? Oh. I have anxiety about it, you know? On one hand, it makes me really happy, and it's like all this positive energy, and like everything's really good, and then like I have so much guilt at the same time. So I don't know if anybody can relate to that, or if anybody wants to talk about being on YouTube and their experience with that, or the people they've met and the people they made friends with, because that's a really awesome one too, having just spent all this time with Finn and all of you amazing people that I've found through YouTube and that we've been friends with each other because of words. Rate, comment, subscribe, video response, do the YouTube thing.
Hey guys, this is Alex, and I'm going to be contributing to Emery's topic. This, for me, is another one of those topics that I could literally have discussions about for hours with people. There's so many different ways that putting yourself out there on YouTube changes your whole life. I almost feel like it changes you enough to the point where I feel more understood as a person by other YouTubers. So when I hang around with trans YouTubers specifically, I feel a different kind of brotherhood and understanding of each other than I do when I hang out with trans guys who don't vlog on YouTube. I'm just gonna probably just jump off some stuff that Emery touched on. I found it super interesting how he talked about, you know, the fact that he didn't feel comfortable totally opening up in the first year. I almost feel like I have the opposite problem in a way. I started out on YouTube being way more open than I currently am. I think a huge part of that was that I didn't have nearly as many followers. The other facet of it was that I was really, really struggling with my gender, and there was kind of like a distance that happened from putting it online. I guess I was too scared to go into support groups face to face with people and, you know, admit how much I was struggling. So a lot of my earlier videos were a lot more real and emotional, and there was a lot of crying and confusion. I don't know. And a lot of just raw, real emotion.
It's really hard to make videos when you feel like shit.
As time has progressed, I've kind of had the opposite problem in that I've started to feel more like I spent so long on YouTube really putting myself out there emotionally that I started to feel like I just wanted to have my emotions for myself, you know. I didn't want to always have them so out there publicly, but at the same time, it's kind of what people had come to expect from me. If you go through all of my YouTube videos, it makes it look like I had all this struggle in the beginning, and then as soon as I started transitioning then all my struggles kind of ended, which is not true, and it stresses me out that people might think that. I'm definitely have way less turmoil than I did when I first was making videos, but at the same time I'm not as inclined to make a video now when I'm really struggling, because I don't feel like I need that support from the internet anymore. It's very hard, like juggling all this stuff about, you know, how you portray yourself online, and feeling kind of obligated to your viewers and the trans community, but also, you know, having to keep in mind like how you feel. One of the other things Emery brought up is just like the anxiety that can come along, and the sense of pressure and responsibility that can be put on you when you're such a public figure. It has been really amazing for me in so many more ways than it's been bad, because I've had the opportunity to like really help people. I've been there myself, been the one who is really scared and confused. So in that sense, it's like amazing feeling, but it can also put you in some tough spots, as Emery mentioned. And I figured I'd talk a little bit about this incident that happened last winter. It was kind of a huge thing that made me almost take all my videos down and quit YouTube, and really like question putting myself out there online. To this day, I still feel like I have this weight on my shoulders because of the situation I was put into. Basically what happened is somebody messaged me through YouTube, as well as a bunch of other FTM guys, including Emery, basically reaching out for help, but it was more than that, because this person was not only suicidal, but thinking about harming other people, and it was a really, really difficult corner to be put in. None of us really knew what to do, and basically I ended up being the one who decided to call the police, and that led to a whole bunch more media attention, which I didn't think about really. Like, all I was thinking about was people's safety. Is, you know, when you are a public figure, and especially when you share things which are so personal about your life, then people start to feel like they know you, even if they've never even personally messaged you. It could be a very one-way relationship, but they still believe that they know you, and they believe they can trust you, and so they reach out to you for something you're maybe not ready for. I do feel like there's something about putting yourself out there on YouTube that changes you in a fundamental way, I feel like. And I do wonder if other people feel like that too. It definitely has made me feel more open to a lot of things. I feel now, in a way I didn't feel before, that I really just am a person who is a public figure, and I feel like I'm much more of a public person. I think the fact that there are all these people out there in the world who I don't know, who know me in a very intimate way because of my videos, has made me more open to the world. You just are never sure as a YouTuber, like, who knows what about you, and it's both like amazing and liberating and also really terrifying at times. Yeah, I'm just interested in hearing everybody else's contributions to these videos. It's a very, very interesting topic.
Being a YouTuber, being a YouTuber for me has done an immense amount of good. But it's also been very tricky, because there's a lot of potential for you to get some sort of ego when you're, like Alex sort of said, kind of a public figure. You get a lot of people on a daily basis telling you things that, you know, giving you compliments and telling you, oh, you're so attractive, and oh, you're so funny, and you're so intelligent, and you're such a great guy, and you've really changed my life. And it's such a humbling experience if you let it be. But there was a point for me where I let it affect me too much. There's just such a startling difference between your life online and your life in the real world. I feel like I've got to be really brutally honest right now, and I'm not feeling comfortable doing it. But as a YouTuber, I lay my cards out on the table for people that I don't even know exist. I've always had this big contradiction going on in my head, and I think more people feel this way than they would let on, that I go between being completely insecure and thinking that I'm the biggest piece of shit there is, and then thinking that I'm God's gift. You know, generally I don't have a big ego, but there's times where maybe I'm just being too harsh on myself, because, you know, there'll be times where I'll look in the mirror and I'll think, ah, you look good today. but but being on YouTube, I can't say these things. I go between thinking that I'm a piece of shit one minute to the next minute thinking, oh, I'm great, I'm the bee's knees. And being on camera on a regular basis for a prolonged period of time can make you quite vain. And when you're doing it, going through transitioning, that's a really vain period of time in your life. You're obsessed with how you look, you're obsessed with yourself, full stop. And I'm not saying it's a bad thing to be that self-obsessed when you're going through transition, because it's not. I think it's perfectly natural. But if you combine that with being on YouTube, getting the amount of attention that you get, getting the amount of compliments and all of that, it can be a bad combination. And it became a bad one for me. And I don't think I've ever been full of myself. I don't think I've ever been arrogant. But I didn't like the way it made me feel. I didn't like how self-obsessed I became. It made me more insecure. That's the thing about it. It was such a contradiction, because on the one hand you're thinking that you're fucking great, but then you become so dependent on it. So, you know, you think that if one of your videos goes up and you don't get as many comments as you did on the last one, or you don't get as many compliments or whatever, you think that you're not good enough. You think that people are getting bored of you, or at least I did. And I didn't like how it then affected my life in the real world. The ways of interacting on YouTube and online in general are so different to how it is in the real world, where random strangers don't walk up to you when you're walking down the street and say, oh, you look really great today, or I loved your thoughts on male privilege. No one does that. Yeah, so my reliance on positive feedback online infiltrated into the real world, and because I wasn't getting it in the real world, I just was starting to feel lacking in something, and it meant that I think that is being a YouTuber, being a public figure, is really addictive, or it was very addictive for me, because I felt better about myself when I was online and getting all that attention, and I find that really hard to admit, and I'm totally paranoid about how this is going to be viewed by everyone, but there you go. But yeah, so there's the vanity of it, and the other big thing is the amount of responsibility that is sort of bestowed upon you, and the amount of expectation. And it's something that I've felt like I've fallen into. I never asked for it, and I never wanted it, and I never even expected it, but it was kind of handed to me, and I've chosen to do with it what I will. I've been very reluctant to fully engage with it, and I still don't think that I'm fully engaging with the online community and using my status online or whatever for good. When I look at the amount of work that Emery puts into interacting with people and giving people advice and just helping generally, I don't think I'd do anywhere near the amount that he does. And I often feel really bad about it. I feel like I should be doing more. But I've just been very, very precious of my own privacy and not wanting to become too obsessed with it. I don't want it to completely dictate my life, and even though I've tried to avoid that, it's kind of happened anyway. For me, I just think it's a very dangerous thing, and it's saved my life, but it's kind of put a few bumps in the road. But yeah, so let's hear what everyone else has got to say on it. Everything that Emery and Alex both said is really, really interesting, and Alex was right. It's something that you could talk about for fucking days on end. You could pick apart so many different aspects of it, and I think on the channel we probably should. I think this is a place for it. But yeah, let's hear what you all have to say. All right, I'll see you later.
Let's go out back and plant a family tree.